Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Vidane TV. Thursday night means none other than it is NEPs night in America and parts of Canada as well here, and we're here in New York State at the Watkins Glen for the 5th annual Zanie at the Glennie, and we're doing things just a little bit differently here tonight. More on that in just a second. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr. up here in the production booth, and alongside me, as always, here on Thursday nights, Ron. Aaron, how we doing?
Oh, we're doing all right. We're a little separated tonight, so I don't infect anyone. But here in the studio, having a good time and getting ready for the holidays. I wish I could be without some of this post-nasally stuff that's going on that seems to be going around right now.
Yeah, a little bit under the weather, but still showing up to punch in the old time clock here at Watkins Glen, and we do appreciate that. And yeah, definitely keep your distance. I'm going to Daytona on Monday. I don't want any excuses here.
We're going to have a good time nonetheless here in upstate New York. We're getting ready for what you were talking about. It's a little bit different. Well, we had qualifying already, but instead of going right to feature time, we're going to have a couple 5-lap heat races that's going to set the field. And also, guess what? The top 6 qualifiers for each heat race were inverted. So John Peters, who is far and away the fastest in qualifying, he's going to line up 6th tonight.
Yeah, and you can see Ryan Libby qualifying 6th. He's going to move up into 1st, and vice versa. Zane Farrell going to be one to watch there as well. Tonight's sponsor here this evening, he's got a lot of really good finishes, but he's also 2nd in most incident points here in the road courses. So definitely going to be one to watch here this evening as you see the rest of the starting grid in this first heat race. Is twin 5-lappers and then a 15-lap feature here tonight to make up the show. And there you can see the tail of the tape here tonight for the Zanie at the Glennie. Only road course track here, Watkins Glen, that's been running all 4 and now 5 seasons of NEP. Peters, Bowler, and Newhouse, the only 3 drivers to complete 100% of the laps there. So you can see making their way through the dogleg before they take that green flag. There you see 2 5-lap heat races into the 15-lap feature. And the big thing here tonight, they're only allowed 40% fuel in the tank, and that's going to give them about 12 to 13 laps. So Aaron, they're not going to have to pit under these or during these heat races, but definitely going to have to come down at least one time for the feature or during the feature.
Yeah, there's definitely no stretching it tonight. You kind of say 12 or 13 laps, it's a 15-lap feature. There's not going to be any stretching it with the fuel. Two circuits around here or anything like that. But the other interesting thing is they are given a couple sets of tires, but the question will be when they come down to pit road once or twice, are they going to take tires? Are they going to take fuel only? We'll see who's going to take advantage of potentially getting some track position. But before we get to that, I think we're getting ready to go to green here as the Porsche pace car, the safety car as it's labeled, is getting ready to come down pit road.
It's always fun when the road racing world changes the names of things in racing so it confuses us all, especially us short track guys, right? Here we go, heat race number 1, green flag flying. There you see Libby, the all-white everything in that number 46. Down on the right side, and Johnny Miller in 6. He's up on the other side of the racetrack. 3 wide for 2nd, though. How about that?
Yeah, some good battling here. And meanwhile, John Peters seems like he's just kind of sitting back, waiting for these guys to sort things out, and then he'll pounce. He's kind of in that position way back in it's like that 7th or 8th spot right now. Kind of just waiting his turn right now. 5 laps is a decent amount of time around this track. It's going to take over a minute to complete a lap. And right now they're heading into the bus stop and kind of getting into single file formation. Some drivers having a little bit of offs there, and but now's the time to kind of make a mistake and potentially. But at the same time, if you make a mistake, you're going to be starting pretty far back at the feature.
Yeah, fast guy on the track in qualifying was this 09 car. We're going to ride on board here with for a lap here with John Peters. Peters was 3/4 of a second over Kenny Kibbe in the number 4 car, and Kibbe was 0.6 of a second over the field. So 2 drivers definitely very, very quick here. They're always quick here on the road courses, and you can see cool, calm, and collected, really easing on and off that throttle, getting on through the gears, and got a little traffic up in front of him, but doing a great job of kind of weaving his way through here. Remember, we had the qualifying order inverted for this heat race, so qualified on the pole, but started P6, still kind of hung up there right now. Hard to pass here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, you can see how hard it is to pass, especially when you're following someone like Evan Bollier, who's a former winner here at Watkins Glen. So Ooh, and a little bit of a nudge. Now that's when you can pounce is when something like that happens, and now he is able to get by and take the fourth place spot. John Peters kind of mired back in the points right now after the last couple of races. He's trying to get his season back on track.
Did you see how much distance John just closed up and getting into that bus stop as those three were easing on into the break as they didn't want to get into each other? Closed up about 3/4 of that distance. You can see getting into that high gear. He's going to try and get up to the back bumper of Miller in that 6 car, but Peters really taking him to school here, kind of showing everybody how it's done on these road courses.
Yeah, and back and further in the field, I think that was Mike Hopkins nudging the guardrail there. And these guardrails, well, they give if you hit them hard enough, but they are kind of unforgiving if you brush them. So, but right now we got a great battle for the top spot as now it's Dale Glessner getting to the front. And right behind him, though, is John Peters. He doesn't have the preferred line going into this corner, so he's probably going to file. Yes, he's going to file right in here behind Ryan Libby, but he's actually going to get a run off the corner, and he's going to go for second.
There you can see a lot of give and take early on in these heat races. Now, remember, this is essentially, it's almost like a half qualifying effort for this one. Mike Hopkins finding himself pointed in the wrong direction. Big time damage with that 78. Good segue into the feature here tonight. We're not doing any inverts from the heat into the feature. Usually what we'll do is we'll run 35 laps here straight up at Watkins Glen, and well, by lap 20, there's usually 1 or 2 cars on the lead lap, so mixing things up just a little bit here tonight, breaking it up, almost doing a little bit of stage racing here at Watkins Glen. So these guys know they've got 5 laps to really kick up the burners and get up towards the front, because you want to start up front in that 15-lap feature there. And you can see Hopkins, he's going to be starting up towards the back, having some issues with that 78 car. Ooh, Glessner off pace.
Yeah, he overcooks it there in the corner, and that allows John Peters to get by for the lead. And the winner of this heat race will start up front in the feature race. Ryan Libby having some troubles now, too. John Miller and Brent Roy are going to go by him. And some shuffling going on here with only 2 laps to go. Evan Boyer's still back there in 6th. Kind of surprised we haven't seen him move up a little bit more. But, yeah, you got to be on it every single corner of this track. If you miss one corner, your whole lap is pretty much ruined right there. And we had another driver that went off further back as Zane Farrell. He's off the track. He's going to be starting further back in the field than for the feature as well in his sponsored race, the Zanie and Glennie. We had a great logo for that race too, didn't we, Paul?
Yeah, it was a pretty fantastic logo. We couldn't get it into the right format for the broadcast. It was that good of a logo. I think that's what we'll call it. But you can shoot over to any of the social media outlets here for Verdane TV or NEP on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch. We're streaming on all of them, by the way. Shout out to everybody that's out there. Merry Christmas. Last NEP race of the calendar year. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's staying healthy. And we hope that we're entertaining the masses here. We hope we're up on the big screen and everybody's having a good time watching some NEP racing here tonight on Verdane TV. It's Thursday because it's NEPs night in America. And you can see John Peters going to take that white flag, a white rag, going to cruise on down into turn number 1. And you can see 5 laps in, 4 laps in. We've gotten very spread out here, and it looks like we might have missed a massive incident because there's a lot of drivers that are way far behind.
Yeah, something must have happened because we got Brian Ship, DJ Gerard, Jeff Brown all rounding out the top 10 now, and Corey Casagrande is falling back. Ryan Libby is off the track, so something must have happened, and we'll have to see if we can catch what happened. Corey Casagrande's car is all kinds of mangled there, number 7. If I remember correctly, when we go to feature time, their cars will be now we have no fast repairs for the feature, but when they go, I think there'll be time for them to work on their cars between the heat and the feature, if I remember correctly. Oh, there we are. Libby kind of got hooked there. And you don't usually see wrecks like that at a road course at Watkins Glen, but you can tell how tight quarters things get when it does happen. It happens big.
Absolutely nowhere to go, nowhere to escape from that. And this is the best spot to be in right now, up front taking the checkered flag. 2.5 seconds out in front of Glessner, who's going to come home in second. How about Johnny Miller in that orange 6 car? He's going to come home third. Brent Roy and Ryan Salvatore are going to round out the top 5. How about a good run for Salvatore in the RSAL TV number 12. Adam Henry, Brian Ship, DJ Gerard, Evan Bollier, and Jeffrey Brown going to round out the top 10. Ryan Libby, Zane Farrell, Corey Casagrande, and Mike Hopkins, DNF. They are still going to make the feature, but that's going to give them an opportunity to really have to come up through the field and see what they can do from the back.
Yeah, for sure, and it'll be interesting to watch. I think that kind of mid-pack to back of the pack is going to be the race to watch here when we go green for the feature. But we've got another heat race to go here shortly once some of these drivers get their torn-up cars off the track, and we'll be ready to go here shortly for the next heat.
Indeed, we are. And here you can see the second half of the drivers getting ready to essentially finish up their qualifying run. Rookie of the Year candidate, the number 13 of Jeffrey Bradway, going to start P1. Alston Belke, good qualifying effort for that 24 crew. He's going to start outside row number 1. Brandon Newhouse, Ryan Messer, Steve Daddio going to round out the top 5.
And then starting in sixth is your second fastest qualifier, Kenny Kibbe. He'll be one to watch. Regan Parrott is also going to be one to watch. Bobby Ship, I think he had a pretty good run last week, so we'll see what he can do on the road course. Cody LeBlanc, Scott McDonald, Jared Adams, and Dan Winter rounding out the top 12. We have a couple other cars, actually one more car, Colby Burkholder, starting in 13th. So we got a rookie starting out front, and we got a rookie bringing up the back. So that'll be interesting to see once we go green. They're going to have to take they still have their pace lap to take here. And then we'll get going here for another 5-lap shindig.
You can see everybody lined up 2 by 2 throughout the field here and essentially getting ready to line up, find out where these drivers are going to line up in the feature event race here. So you want to make sure that you have a good run here tonight. You do have, there's no quick repairs down on pit road, as Aaron made mention earlier on here tonight. But once we do get ready to go or feature racing, these drivers will essentially have a brand new car. So some of those drivers that we saw get caught up in those incidences there in their first heat race, they're going to be able to come out with a clean slate, and they've got 15 laps later on to try and get up through the field. And oh, by the way, there's going to be a pit stop. There's 2 sets of tires down on pit road for that feature. But more importantly, we're only allowing these drivers to take a 40% fuel load. They're only going to be able to make 12, maybe 13 laps if they stretch it. And they can't even really bank on any caution flags because we're not throwing them. No caution flags here tonight for the Zanie at the Glennie. And, well, after last week's incident with Tim Terry's sailboat out there in turn number 13 dropping the sailboat fuel, the state of New York outlawed them. There's no sailboats around. So we're going to be green flag racing for that entire 15-lap feature here later on.
Yeah, I was going to bring my sailboat up, but things happened, and the news of that happened too. So, so we're going to be hopefully going all green racing when we have the 15-lap feature race. But once again, before we get to that green flag, we're going to throw another one as they come through the bus stop and last couple turns. It's going to be Jeffrey Bradway and Alston Belke making up the front row for this last race week before we take a little holiday break. I think it's only a one-week holiday break. We're off next Thursday, and then we're back at it once the new calendar year starts to kind of set off the next half of the NEP season. And I think we're just about ready to go for another 5 laps.
Yeah, things really hitting the fire in a big kind of way here at Verdane TV new studio here, Barn 54 Studios, about 80% complete, I would say. Got a little bit of work to do. We got to work on the heat just a little bit. It is kind of chilly in here. Either that, or I'm gonna have to go over to Verdane.net and grab another hat and a couple more hoodies because it is kind of chilly in here. But lots of cool stuff going on for Verdane TV here in the iRacing world, as well as the real racing world, and maybe even the softball world. Some interesting things happening in early 2024. Green flag flies for heat race number 1. Ryan Messer wants to go. He's all over the back bumper of that 24 of Belke.
Yeah, Bradway got up and away pretty quickly there, and that's going to allow Newhouse to pull to the inside of Belke. And Messer right now kind of looks like he's kind of pinned in there. And once again, just like we saw with John Peters, Kenny Kibbe's just kind of sitting back there waiting for things to happen, waiting to pounce, taking advantage and capitalize on someone's mistake. And there's a mistake right there that's going to collect a few competitors.
Indeed it is. Messer involved. Newhouse, the number 3 car, he's going to give up his stretch of completing 100% of the laps here on the road courses, as I believe is Evan Bollier. I'm not sure if he completed that last lap after that incident. He raced number 1, and I believe that's going to count towards the feature lap totals. We'll have to confirm that. That'll give the stat to John Peters by himself, another record holder 4 of the 09 crew of completing 100% of the laps here at the Walk and Swing races in all 5 now of the NEP season. But we still have the 15 laps later on here tonight. Rookie of the Year contender, though, Jeffrey Bradway driving off into the sunset. That 13 car's checked out. Kenny Kibbe just a little bit further on back, made up a couple of spots after getting those qualifying spots inverted. He's in second. Parrott, Daddio, and LeBlanc going to round out the top 5 as they run.
And I think Kibbe came out of that skirmish unscathed, so he moves up to that second spot, and we'll have to see if he can reel in on Bradway. Right now, he's a good 3 seconds behind, maybe conserving. Maybe Bradway's that good as now it's inside 3 seconds, as I was saying before. But see Steve Daddio kind of dirt tracking it there. He's on quite a roll here with a win and a runner-up, podium finish in the last couple weeks. So Daddio is going to try to translate that over to turning left and right. And right now he's solidly in the top 5.
Yeah, Double Nine's wanting to put on a show there. Daddio said, oh, I've got 2 sets of tires in the pits. Let's go. Watch this. He's sliding all the way around the racetrack and a little bit further on the 04 car, doing a bit of the same. Bobby Shipp having a solid run. Gained himself a couple of spots so far here tonight. He's in 5th. Cody LeBlanc dropping back to 6th. Scott McDonald, Dan Winter, Colby Burkholder making up a little bit of ground, running in 9th. Jaron Adams in the top 10. Messer all the way back, scored in at the 11th position. You can see he's got that thing rolling once again. Lots of damage. Austin Belke started outside row number 1. He's down in the pits, as is Brandon Uhouse, after a solid qualifying effort. So we'll see those guys in the 15-lap feature coming up here momentarily, but we still got 3 laps to go in this second heat race, and Brad Ray's walking away with it.
Yeah, the crew's going to work, and I wouldn't say he's quite walking away, as now Kibbe's within 2 seconds. So we'll see if Kibbe can catching him's one thing, but passing him's another. So all Bradway has to do really is be smooth here. He's got through half of this race already, get through this bus stop like a pro. And, yeah, right now Bradway's the one to beat. He's the one that Kibbe's going to have to catch and pass. Further back, they're still battling as Regan Parent, Steve Daddio, Bobby Shipp rounding out the top 5 right now, having a good run. So a lot going on right now, and a couple spots further back in 7th spot is Scott McDonald, and that was one of my favorite stats that RSAL put out there. Most positions gained in the race in 4 seasons at Watkins Glen. Evan Boyer was first, Regan Parent was second, but Scott McDonald was third, and RSAL always puts like a little stat next to them, like Evan Boyer has a win, 4 top 10s here. Scott McDonald, in parentheses, it said, tries hard. And he certainly does, because he's one of those drivers that's he's there every week. And by the time we get to the checkered flag, oftentimes, especially this year, he's been in the top 10 or even the top 5.
And you can see throughout the field, relatively sorted out with 2 laps to go. We're live all over the internet here, taking over as we do on Zanie TV. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're not on TikTok yet. We're still trying to figure that out. We are on Twitter. We're on Twitter. We're on Twitch. Be sure to give us the like, the subscribe, the shares. We got a battle for the lead coming up in the closing ones. Kenny Kibbe, he knows he's going to start up towards the front in that feature race. He wants the spot, though. He wants to be on that front row, and he's taking a look down on the inside of the 13.
Yeah, Bradway's almost opening up that door, but he gets a good run here off the corner. I think he's going to keep the lead coming to the white flag lap when we get to it. And but that's still an entire way around. He has to be near perfect, and that was a little bit of a slide right there. Kibbe's going to stay right on his tail and keep Bradway honest here as they come by to take the white flag. Kibbe's going to back off a little bit, probably try to get a run here into the first turn, and maybe actually not just into the first turn, but kind of coming off the corner. This is a good passing spot. Potentially. We didn't see that work out well on the opening lap there for a few competitors, but right now this is where you kind of approach a good amount of speed here. And right now, though, Bradway keeping Kibbe behind him for the time being.
And you can see sawing on the wheel. One of the things we're going to be working on here in the early 2024 here with Zanie TV is in-car cameras with some of these drivers. And one of the drivers we're going to be talking to is this guy right here, Kenny Kibbe, always laser focused when he streams over on Twitch. And if you ever see him online, definitely go check him out. DJ Gerard, another avid streamer in the field here. A couple other ones here as well. You can see taking a peek, nothing quite there. Going to tuck back into the tire tracks of Bradway right now. And this is an incredible battle between an NEP Series rookie and one of the season's veterans that's been here for the entirety of the NEP Series, even has himself a championship.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to come down to the wire here. Bradway looks like he's going to hold off Kibbe. No, they're not going to go side by side. Jeffrey Bradway, great win in the heat race for him. He's going to start outside front row. Kenny Kibbe, though, he's not going to be far behind. He's going to line up in fourth for the feature with that second place finish in this heat race. Regan Parent, Steven Daddio, and Bobby Ship rounding out the top five.
And man, that's huge for Bradway. Not only is it a good finish in the heat race, not only is it's the best qualifying spot you can get here at Watkins Glen. Going to be starting up there on the front row with John Peters. But you just beat last season's champion, Kenny Kibbe, in that 4-car to the line clean here at Watkins Glen. That is a tall, tall order for anybody in the sim racing world. And, well, the 13 of Bradway did it with ease.
Yeah, definitely a big deal right there. Showing how it's done on the road course. So we'll have to see what happens here when we go feature racing. See the wreckers kind of on the track cleaning up some of that debris. And we'll get going here in about a minute for the pace lap and set the field. It'll be, I think, 27 cars strong when we go racing. So it's going to be a pretty packed house. Some drivers that had problems in those in those heat races going to be starting pretty far back in the field.
And there is nothing more entertaining on a Thursday night than getting a bunch of short track guys and putting them on a road course. Holy moly, are you ready for some entertainment? Once again, we're live all over the internet. We're on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, all of them. Thank you so much for tuning in here. Neps Night in America, parts of Canada, Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr. in the production booth, Aaron Creed alongside me, and be sure to give us the likes, the subscribes, the shares. Found everybody hanging out. Everybody's hanging out in the NEP Series chat over on that stream. Got a shout out to everybody that's over there. Derek over there. Brent tuning in once again here as well. Austin. Conversations back and forth. Some Ryan Messer fans out in the field. Gary Spinato from Rent a Race Car tuning in here tonight. Gary, always good to see you, my friend. And man, oh man, it's we're ready to watch some racing. They're gonna put a fork in that warm up. You only get about 55 seconds. Go ahead, make sure the car starts. Double check. You've got 4 tires down there on pit road. 8 tires, 2 sets, time 2 times 4 math. That's how we get it done here. And then we're gonna get them all lined up. And there you see they're lining up on that front straightaway behind that Porsche. And we're gonna get ready to do some racing here at Watkins Glen.
Oh, yeah, we're getting down to it here very shortly, and it's going to go by pretty quickly. But here's the starting lineup. Just saw them win the heat races. It'll start straight up from the heat race finishes. John Peters will start on the pole. Like we said, looking to get his season turned around. And I guess kind of in a way, Jeffrey Bradway is as well. We've seen him have some decent runs, but not really up there challenging for the win just yet, aside from this latest heat race. Row number 2, though, it's Dale Glassner and Kenny Kibbe. And rounding out the third row, in the third row, it's Johnny Miller and Regan Parent. Let's take a look even further down, Paul.
Yeah, Brent Roy, the Camry kid, going to roll off P7. The double 9 of Steve Daddio going to roll off outside of row number 4. RSAL TV's very own Ryan Salvatore going to roll that 12 car off 9th. Bobby Ship there in 10th. Adam Henry, Cody LeBlanc going to roll off in row number 6 as these guys get ready to roll through. You take a look at the starting lineup there on your screen, and this is going to be a lot of fun. We made mention that these guys are all short track racers for the most part. Everybody, one of the cool things with the NEP series is the connections with the real racing world, and whether they're in a car, driving the car, working on the car, working at a track, whatever it may be. It's always cool to have that bridge, to be able to bridge that gap between sim racing and real racing. And when you throw the road course racing into it, it really kind of shows a lot of the discipline that these guys have, right? Because with short track racing, you've got a lot of braking and a lot of, every once in a while you get the shift and you've got some hairpin turns. And well, here at Watkins Glen and on these road courses, it's almost like copying and pasting a bunch of like half short tracks, putting them all together, making a weird shape, and then just throwing a bunch of short track guys out there and saying, hey, figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. And some really rise to the occasion. Some kind of like, I don't know, some of the old NASCAR guys like Jimmy Spencer did not like road course racing, or they at least didn't have much luck with it. So some of them kind of you know, go through the motions and hope for the best, and then hope they come out with the best finish possible and move on to the next one, which will be in a couple weeks. But we're getting close to going racing here. The Porsche safety car leading the field and going to lead them through a couple more turns here. But it's going to be John Peters and Jeffrey Bradway on the front row. Peters has the preferred line going into the first turn. A little bit different when you come to a track like this too. It's kind of like it's almost like you're going in reverse because you got the pits on the different side of the track on the right side, and then the driver that starts on the pole is also, it's on your when you're looking. I guess it's on their right side, but when you're looking at it from the TV screen, it's on the left side, which you're not used to. So here we go. We're getting ready to go green. John Peters, Jeffrey Bradway, Dale Glessner, and Kenny Kibbe behind them, and we're off and ready to go.
Going to be a lot of fun tonight, folks, but it is going to be a long night. It's going to be a long 13 laps. I can't tell my left from right as it is. We're going to be high, we're going to be low, we're going to be left and right, all over, up, down, B squared. Race cars, baby. We're racing here at the Glen, the 5th annual. Zanie at the Glennie. John Peters pulling away just a little bit, and it is a gaggle for second, third, fourth on back.
Oh yeah, definitely a gaggle, and this is where we saw things get a little mixed up, and the tight quarters in that area of the track really came to bite some drivers, but they all make it through solidly this time, and we're going racing. John Peters out front. Jeffrey Bradway not with a good start like he did in the heat race. He's back to 5th already and has Johnny Miller on his tail. Dale Glessner doing a great job up in 2nd, currently holding off Kenny Kibbe.
Getting things sorted out pretty early on. You can see these drivers snaking on through the racetrack, trying to get a little bit better track position than what they've got already. Got to give everybody out in the chat an opportunity to let us know, hey, where are you watching from, who you're rooting for, and who you're pulling from here. And if you're watching on the big screen, be sure to snap off a picture of the TV. Oh, Adam Henry, big sideways. It looks like he gathered it back up. We're going to lose a lot of track time there. Libby off the pace as well. Libby's actually coming down pit road. Is that a scheduled stop for the 46 car?
It could be. I mean, that would kind of still be pushing it, though, because we said they can make it on between 12 and 13 laps. We still got 14 to go. So I don't know if that's a good sign. I think we got Scott McDonald off the track as well. Actually, there he is. But we also had Arsaus going for a spin there in 12. So some drivers with some early troubles. We see Jared Adams there in the 43 kind of bringing up the back. And there's a couple positions in front that has some noticeable damage on the front.
Yeah, that's we saw. I believe that's Adam Henry. It is the 62 car with that big damage there. That's not a slow motion shot, folks. That's going full speed in that 62 car. I'm not sure if that motor's going to hang on for too much longer there. But how about the big mover, Mike Hopkins? 7 spots gained from where he qualified right now. He's got a little bit of open track up in front of him, but he's trying to track down that 3AU house up in front.
Yeah, he's certainly trying, and we've seen it quite a few times this year. Hopkins has had a decent run going, and then things go wildly wrong, it seems like. But he's hoping to kind of conserve and pick up one spot after another here, as some others might make some subtle mistakes and whatnot. We got Brandon Uhouse down pit road now. So, yeah, maybe this is part of the strategy. Uhouse coming down with 13 laps to go. Libby's back out there, so yeah, potentially part of the strategy for sure.
I'm telling you right now, Aaron, I think Ryan Libby just won this race. He's going to run the entire race with an empty racetrack and with no cautions and no threat of a green-white checkered at the end of it. He may very well have enough fuel to get to the end.
He still has to make it on fuel, though. That's the important part.
That's true. That's true.
We'll see what he can conserve here. But right now, you got Peters and Kibbe up front. Probably no surprise to anyone right there, as they were pacing the field in both practice and qualifying. Kibbe's trying to track down Peters for the top spot. Both of them, I believe, are winners this season. So trying to become 2-time winners as we continue on here. As Dale Glessner, Jeffrey Bradway, Regan Parent rounding out the top 5. Still about 10 seconds separating the top 9 competitors, and we got Corey Casagrande around. We saw him have problems at Stafford a couple weeks back, and now he's running into trouble here.
Zane Farrell going to take the 14 car down pit road, and I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of these scheduled stops. Here you see Corey Casagrande. I don't think that was a scheduled stop, but when you spin around, point yourself in the wrong direction, you may as well come down pit road if you're right there. Ryan Salvatore on pit road right now as well. We made mention 12, 13 laps is about how far these guys are going to be able to go on a full fuel load, only allowing these guys to get a 40% load in these Xfinity cars. And they do have 2 sets of tires that they're going to be able to take on pit road if they do elect to. But will they have time? A lot of these drivers just going to stay out. It's a 15-lap feature. They're going to come down, try and just get fuel only and make up as much time as they can on the track, and they're really going to have to. Peters and Kibbe, they both qualified 1 and 2. Both of these guys started in P6 on their heat races after the invert, and now fast forward to 11 laps to go, they're 1 and 2 in the feature. So tough to get around the 09, tough to get around the 4 car as well, but Glessner, Bradway, Perrin all up in the top 5. Roy now into the top 5 as he gets in around that 17 car of Perrin's. They've got an opportunity to potentially make up a little bit of ground here, but they've got 11 laps to do it.
Yeah, potentially, and they're definitely obviously doing a very different strategy. So some of them we've seen come down pit road, Peters and Kibbe up front, and these guys are not risking it. They're going to say, well, we'll just pit sometime during this race, not have to worry about fuel or anything like that. And you never know, maybe someone like Peters or Kibbe, they can get a good enough lead. Maybe they'll even try to kind of try some things out, get some tires, and have enough of an advantage to still be up front or towards the front and have a chance to get towards the back to the lead. We see a few more takers down pit road. Austin Belke, who just saw DJ Girard. A lot of mixed strategies. That's really makes it interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to keep up with all the action. You can see the 09 car about a second and a half in front of the field, but still driving that 09 car as hard as he can into the corners here. Kenny Kibbe right in behind, and Dale Glessner just a little bit further on back, crossing the stripe there. So still has the crosshair set on the back bumper there of the number 4 car, but losing just a little bit of ground. You can see even getting in through turns 1 and getting into turn 2 here, he lost about a tenth and a half. So that's definitely big. One of the drivers moving forward, though, both in the scoring and on the stopwatch, is that 26 car, the Camry kid of Brent Roy, having a great run. He's another one of those drivers that streams over on Twitch, and I believe he streams on Facebook as well, so you can get the in-car feel of that 26 car. Having a solid run. Daddio right in behind him in the 99 car. He's running 5th.
Yeah, Brent Roy does some good stuff in the real racing world up north of the border as well. And, yeah, he's one that this season I don't think he's really shown what he's capable of, as he's had some bad luck in some races. We've seen him win before, but hasn't really been contending at the end of the races in much of this season. He's got 5 official NEP victories to his credit over the 4 seasons of racing. And we'll have to see what he can do. But meanwhile, Steve Daddio up in the top 5, trying to hold it off Reggie Parent. Jeffrey Bradway still there in the mix in the number 13. And don't look now, but Evan Boyer has caught these guys.
So a couple of smaller groups kind of getting a little racy here at Watkins Glen. And you can see there on the right side of your screen the track map. Those little dots going around the racetrack with the numbers in them, that is going to be their position, what position that dot is running in. So you can kind of take that and compare it with the scoring pylon on the left, do a little bit of math in the middle, and find out where your favorite driver is on the track. We're trying to keep up here in the booth as well, but these guys always putting on a show here with pit stops all the way throughout this one. There you see Scott McDonald going to come down in the 44 car, get some service there. Colby Burkholder going to come down as well, one of the Rookie of the Year contenders in the 026. Jared Adams down on pit road in the Kodak looking ride there, and just taking a peek on pit road still. Corey Casagrande having some issues. Nope, he's just driving by pit road there. So he's back out on track. But Bobby Shipp and Ryan Salvatore, looks like they've gotten out of those cars and may very well have shot on over to the snack stand for the evening.
Yeah, Watkins Glen has some pretty good snacks. I'm sure they had some good food trucks there. Maybe even some bowling lanes there with Gold Bowling.
Hey, let's go bowling.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here. We got 19 or 20 cars on the lead lap, something like that. still. So a lot can occur. Tough break for ourselves, especially Bobby Ship, who had a top 5 run in his heat race, is behind the wall now. As we continue to scroll through the field here, as there's Ryan Messer kind of playing catch up right now in the 9th spot, and we saw him have involved in a wreck in the heat race. They got that car all cleaned up. Maybe they rolled out the backup. I don't know what the rules are on that between the heat and the feature race. But all credit to the virtual crew in the number 1, as he's going to try to work his way around Scott McDonald, who's a couple laps down. And he finally successfully does through the bus stop there, but that was a little sketchy there for a moment. Scott McDonald's car kind of looks like that Derek Cope Xfinity car that exploded out of the bus stop that one time. Kind of the same colors, if I remember correctly, but Scott's car's still running, albeit a lap down, still running out there, going to try to get himself into the top 20 here.
Yeah, a bit of a long pit stop, I believe, on the 44 car. Still one of the coolest paint schemes. I love the simplistic look to it. I'm a big fan of it. Reagan Parent going to come down in the 17 car for service on the number 17, and looks like the lone rider down there. Brian Ship completing his pit stop last time by. You can see he's getting out of the pit road exit there. DJ Gerard coming on down around. Looks like he may have had a long extended stop as well as he's further on down the scoring pylon. Oh no! Kenny Kibbe has it blown up. Look at the black smoke coming out of the 4 car.
Wow, you don't see that every day. Usually pretty reliable power plant on the number 4, and it has just gone wrong for the Michigan driver who was running in second, battling for a championship. Not good, as you saw, kind of started puffing there. We'll see it here in a moment, but I think it was kind of coming down the front straightaway, crossing the start-finish line.
Yeah, you can see really starting to close the gap there on Peters as we take a peek at that U-House Racing Designs instant replay. We'll listen in.
Oof.
Gets into 1. It looks like it lets go right there, getting into turn number 1, so may very well have missed a gear. That might have been what the case was. We'll go back to the live shot and check in. He's going to limp it around pit road there. But at Watkins Glen, that is the fastest portion on the racetrack, thundering on down into turn number 1. You're in 4th gear, and you sometimes you want to go 4, 3, 2, 1. Sometimes you get excited. He might have dropped it right down into 1.
Yeah, it's possible, and whether it was transmission or if it was the motor, whatever it was, that's not the place to make it happen in that fastest spot. So kind of give some kudos to him keeping it going straight there. We saw him kind of back off eventually and kind of go through the bus stop in the wrong way, but kind of just getting out of everyone's way. So tough break, probably an end to the night for Kenny Kibbe. We'll have to see. John Peters, it's his race to lose, but we haven't seen him come down pit road just yet. And as I say that, here he comes.
Going to bring a little bit of company with him, too, I would imagine, as he's got 8 seconds or so on second place. Jeffrey Brown going to tuck in behind him. There you see Dale Glessner almost missing the exit entry to pit road there. As we cross the stripe, going to be 5 laps to go. Brent Roy going to inherit the lead for the time being. Steve Daddio going to stay out for a lap. Ryan Messer going to stay out this time as well. So it's Peters, Glessner, Bollier, Bradway, and Miller currently down on pit road. And this is going to be big with the 4 car blowing up late in the going of this one, Aaron. That's going to tighten this top 5 in the points right up. Kenny Kibbe came in as the points leader 2 over Ryan Messer, who's having himself a solid recovery and is up in the top 3 right now. Still does have to come down pit row. Steve Daddio in the 99 car, solid run tonight. He was 9 points back from the leader. And Brent Roy, who's currently leading this thing, he was 18 points back in 4, and Zane Farrell is in the 5th spot. So he's got an opportunity to potentially make up a couple of points on the leader here, too.
And John Peters, I think he's down in like 11th in points. So he's going to make up some ground if he continues on the way he's currently on. He's still, even with the pit stop, he's in 4th overall. So, and I think looks like he's a good 12 seconds ahead of 5th. So, with his strategy, I don't know if he took tires, probably didn't. It's kind of one of those things. He had a nice 8-second pad on the second place car before pit stops.
Do you kind of take on tires to see if you can just lose some ground in the pits, but then gain it back on the track, or hey, I'm behind in points right now. I need to. I'm just gonna take fuel and just stink up this show. So we'll have to see once it all resets here, and it's going to here very shortly. As we're inside 4 laps to go already, Paul, and Brent Roy. I think he's the only one that has not made a pit stop at this point.
Yeah, going to stretch this thing out as long as he can. And that's the difference between, well, a lot of these good drivers and myself. Because if I had an 8-second lead, and that's a big if, by the way, but if I had an 8-second lead at Watkins Glen, I'm coming down. I want fuel. I want 4 tires. I want a double cheeseburger, probably a large Coke, and some fries if I can get those too. We got 8 seconds we can kill.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do all that in 8 seconds, but you never know. we had some good meals while we were dining in Florida, and we ate pretty fast, especially when those football games went into overtime and whatnot. But back on track, Brent Roy is coming down pit road this time by. He's going to bring the Toyota number 26 in for service, most likely just fuel. And I think pretty soon we're going to see John Peters scoot on by on the front stretch to get the lead back.
And you can see the difference as we cycle through best time and last time there on the scoring pylon. Drivers not losing too much time on the older tires, so may very well just see a couple of fuel-only stops. And indeed, John Peters does get down and around, and it is indeed fuel-only for the Camry kid in the number 26. So he's going to be down and away. Still going to be a tall order to try and catch up with the 09 car, already 12 seconds ahead of Rory, getting down and around and pitting a few laps to go. Dale Glessner going to come in, cycle through rather, in third. Steve Daddio currently fourth, and Reagan Parent going to be in the top 5 as they run.
Yeah, but this race isn't over till it's over. We saw what happened to Kibby there. So, something could happen to John Peters. Even though he's 12 seconds ahead, I doubt it's going to happen, but you never know. And we saw, like you said, we saw Hopkins down pit road. I thought he had been moving up there. He was inside the top 10, but it turns out he still needed to make a pit stop, so he's going to fall pretty far back in the order as we're going to be coming up on 2 laps to go very shortly as it's Peters all by himself out front, but we got a whole lot of racing going on behind him.
And Jaron Adams, I think he might have saw a quarter or something over there, got spun around and got it sorted all back out, a lap or 2 down in that 43 car, but gathered it back up and going to try and limp home to a top 20 here. Going to try to anyway. They see DJ Gerard off the pace. He's going to go check out the beach over there in that 0 car. Got that thing back on track. Bollier's going to tuck in behind, it looks like, but it looks like there's something wrong with that 0 car.
Yeah, for sure. I thought he might have been checking out that beach since there's no sailboat fuel or tar balls out there nowadays. But it looks like he's got something else going on with the 0. But he's back out there again.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and lift this thing around, and there you see 13 seconds on the field. The 09 car's still drifting all the way around this racetrack. 2 laps to go for Peters, and we did make mention, and we saw it here tonight. Anything can happen here in iRacing. Anything can happen here on Verdane TV, especially with these NEP drivers. We saw that 4 car just grenade the motor, getting on down into turn 1 about 5-6 laps ago. And man, oh man, we hope for the best for all the rest of the drivers in the field. But you really have to wonder, is that in the back of the mind of the leader right now, John Peters, as he takes the white flag?
Well, knowing Peters, he's probably just cool, calm, and collected here. But, we are on the white flag lap now. He's probably going to be starting to hear all certain kinds of sounds. But he's just going to have to be smooth here. He's got a 14-second lead. Even if he's not completely smooth, he might have some room for error. But, we saw it earlier with some of these drivers kind of going back through the field. If you do make one mistake, it can cost several seconds. So Brent Roy, even though he's 14 seconds behind, could be ready to pounce if something major happened. Peters is going to come upon a couple lap cars potentially here that he's going to need to catch and pass to begin with to conclude this race. So we'll have to see what can happen here. Yeah, there might be a little bit of a margin. Looks like he's going to be on his way to victory pretty soon here.
driving off into the sunset here in New York State at Watkins Glen, the 5th annual. Zanie at the Glennie mixed it up just a little bit, kind of threw a monkey wrench into everybody's plans. We had some heat racing, we did a 15-lap feature, we did some inverting. No matter to the 09 car, John Peters going to cross that start-finish line once again, taking it yet another checkered flag here at Watkins Glen. John Peters going to come home with the win. The Camry kid, Brent Roy, going to finish in second. Dale Glester third. Steve Daddio and Reagan Parent going to round out the top 5. And once these drivers get themselves across the start-finish line, we'll get that completed unofficial results here, and we'll see if we can get an update on the points before we get off the air here as well. And as always, in this Turn 4 podcast post-race show, we're going to be talking to the top 3, John Peters, Brent Roy, and Dale Glessner. And man, the fans in the stands are going crazy for this 09 car for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I was going to say, it's not over till it's over once again. Not necessarily for Peters. He had the field covered, but we were watching that on the pylon as the cars kind of went into boldface. That's when they crossed the start-finish line, but they did continue in the same top 5 spots as they were running.
They have, and we're not even going to let John get down to victory lane. We're going to interview him while he's making his parade lap, and maybe we'll talk to him while he's doing his burnouts here. But John, a solid run here tonight. The race officials threw some monkey wrenches into the initial plan, kind of splitting this thing up, doing a little stage racing, as it were, doing a little inversion, but no matter. The 09 car coming home victorious. Talk to us while you're doing these burnouts.
What's happening? Let me see if I can multitask. This should be interesting.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Right. I appreciate it, guys. It's good to talk to you. I was definitely a little bit nervous about how this was going to go, just with the different format altogether, as I'm doing terrible burnouts. It definitely was different. Certainly, I think the last few times here, we've just kind of gone straight up and run feature races, which tends to play to my strengths in general, no matter what track we're at. So the fact that we were doing short runs only kind of meant you could just run qualifying laps for as long as possible, which definitely the heat race played out that way. Got couple breaks and was able to get up through. And then the feature was a bit different, actually. I was trying to figure out whether or not it made sense to take tires on the pit stop, and was trying to figure out what the strategy might be. Decided I was just going to stay out, so I actually did end up saving some tire there in the long run and just tried to manage it. And it was a bummer to see Kenny drop out. We've had some good races here in the past, so once that happened, it's just about keeping the 4 tires on the pavement and happy to bring it home.
It's a good segue right into my next question. When you saw the 4-car grenade the motor as he was closing in the back bumper, well, not so much the back bumper, but closing the gap a bit there, what was going through your mind? Was that kind of on the back burner through the rest of the race that, wow, that 4-car just blew up?
Yeah, actually, I looked in my mirror. I'd been keeping tabs on where he was at, and I happened to see that he was gone, and a couple guys in the voice chat said he blew up. So that was definitely surprising. I don't think Kenny makes a whole lot of mistakes. Maybe something happened that did it. I don't know, but yeah, once that happened, it was just about making sure I don't slip a tire in the dirt and go for a wild ride or anything like that. But I was trying to manage the gap with him. Figured we would be on the same strategy, but you never know. He's pretty smart with that stuff and can sometimes go off course, and they kind of did that to me at Oxford last week. So I was just keeping tabs on him and hoped we could race it out. But nonetheless, we'll take it. Good run for our teammates too. Brent finished second and a couple other guys in the top 10. So good night overall.
Absolutely, and got to give you the opportunity. Who gets you to and from the virtual track? Anything going on in the real racing world that you want to talk to the fans about? It's the last time we're going to be on the air here for the calendar year. So what do we got going on for early 24?
Excited to head up to Maine here in a few weeks and announce the next winner of G&G's gift. That'll be January 13th in 2024 up at the Augusta Civic Center. So if anyone's going to the Northeast Motorsports Expo, come see us on Saturday afternoon. We'll celebrate our finalists and crown our winner. Excited to do that. Thank you guys for letting me talk about that. Thanks to everyone who watches and you guys who do this every week. We definitely appreciate it. It's always good to chat with you. Thanks to everyone who watches, my mom, Patty, all the viewers. Thanks to my wife and my 2 dogs for letting me do it. And our very graphically talented sponsor of tonight's race who did some great promotions for us. We appreciate them too.
Absolutely. John Peters coming home with an easy victory here at Watkins Glen. Dominant victory as well. Congratulations, John.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
And a little bit further over on pit road, Aaron, you've caught up with tonight's third place finisher, the number 10, Dale Glessner.
Yeah, Dale, solid run in the heat race there, and then kind of capitalizing there on a couple drivers in front of you there in the feature for a podium finish. Congratulations.
Yeah, I think we were all just kind of battling for second there. John was definitely the class of the field. I mean, I was happy to see him for about 3 laps, but but it was fun. You know, it was just tough. That road course stuff in these cars is, man, you gotta. It's pretty tough. It really is. I'm a sweaty mess over here.
And take us through the strategy that you chose to take. I know some drivers more so towards the back of the field came down pit road pretty early, while some of the leaders came down a little bit later. What was the strategy like, kind of seeing everyone coming and going?
Well, it was kind of funny. I heard on the radio John was pitting, so I decided I was going to pit too, but I almost blew the corner. Didn't make it to pit road, so I think Brent almost took me out there. That was probably the most excitement I had. But really, I was just trying to kind of hang on and not screw up too much, and had a lot of fun. Buddy Brian Ship there in the last lap scared the crap out of me when he brought it sideways. But anyhow, it was fun. It was good times.
All right, who would you like to thank one last time to thank someone for the year 2023 and for bringing this car home in third place?
I definitely got to thank you guys. You know what I mean? You guys are always here for us. Every Thursdays and put up with our disasters every once in a while, and just allow us to come out and have a good time. But just all my guys, my buddies I hang out with on here. We all kind of just have a good time and try not to take it too serious. But that's just about it, man.
All right, that's third place finisher Dale Glessner and Paul. Brent Roy, I think he's finally made it to the victory lane, the podium festivities, with his second place effort.
Indeed, he has, and that might be the next Vidane.net t-shirt, Podium Fest. I kind of like that. Maybe that's what we'll start calling these post-race shows, Podium Fest. But the Camry kid, nonetheless, coming home in a second place here tonight. Man, Brent, talk to us. What's going through your mind?
Just happy to finish one of these things in a point in the right direction and in one piece and on the podium's added bonus for sure. I always like Watkins Glen, like the road courses and these things. They're like Dale said, they're a friggin' little bear to drive. They're no grip and too much horsepower and lots of being up on the wheel, but lots of fun too.
Absolutely, and a lot of fun to watch. Putting on a show here for us tonight. What was the strategy kind of coming into this one, knowing that it's a little bit different here? We've run this track now in all 5 seasons of NEP, but we kind of split it up and did a little stage racing. What was the strategy coming into that?
Well, for qualifying, it was just try to put a lap in. I think I was like 15th in practice or something like that to sort of put at P3 and qualifying was fun. And then in the heat race was just to kind of survive and try to start near the front, which we started, I think, 7th. And then just the strategy with road courses in these cars is to keep it on the pavement, not make any mistakes or mitigate mistakes and not make them worse if you make one. So couple scuffles here and there with some guys, but lots of fun throughout. And then once we got running, it was just basically stay out as late as possible because we had some clear track, and then just pit late and see where it put us in relation to everybody. We were able to leapfrog Dale on the pit stops.
And it's going to be a big points night here tonight with a 4-car. The points leader having some engine or transmission problems late in the going of this one, but only going to be gaining points on that leader, it seems like, because a lot of the top 5 guys in points finished in the top 6 or 7 here tonight at the Watkins Glen. But as we get into the end of the 23-year calendar, into January 24, it's going to be a tight points battle. That's got to be in the back of the mind, right?
Yeah, for sure. That played into the fuel strategy, staying out, leading a lap, getting a point there. But maybe the 4-wide weaponry guys will call 229 for some quality engines that don't blow up.
Shots fired, indeed. Might have been grenades fired in that one if we're talking about
grenades. Definitely went off for sure.
Grenades are going off for sure. Got to give you the opportunity, Brent, to thank anybody out there watching, friends, family, sponsors, who gets you to and from the virtual and the real racetrack.
Well, I can't thank my mom, my dad, and my sister enough. They tune in every Thursday to watch this. the folks at Flow Racing for putting up with us at Speedway 660, all the guys at 229 for putting up with me and having fun, and you guys at Verdane and the guys that put this NEP deal together and run the Twitter stuff. That's always a lot of fun to follow along with and stuff. So it's just a lot of fun with these guys. Like Dale said, we try not to take it too serious, but it's always just fun.
Absolutely. Good finish here tonight. Great points tonight. Congratulations, Brett.
Thanks, guys.
And that's going to do it here for us. The 5th annual Zanie at the Glennie is in the books, and we got a couple of days off here. Light week next week. It's going to be interesting next Wednesday night with the Turn 4 podcast, iRacing Winter Series. We're going to be trying to do that show from Daytona. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. We'll see if we can make the magic happen, as it were. But thanks so much for everybody tuning in here tonight, for everybody of Verdane TV and the NEP Series. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr., A.A. Ron, Aaron Creed up here in the broadcast booth. We'll see you in 2 Thursdays from now. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Be safe, be healthy, and be good to each other. We'll catch you on the flip side, and when we do, we are going to be doing it live.